everyone. If you missed our session last night, we really missed having you. We were glad to get back together after our Christmas break, glad to get to see each other. Last night we started with a little bit of a social night, so it was an overview of what the rest of the semester is going to look like. We're starting up our portion on moral theology, so we're learning about the second half of the commandments. So last year we learned about commandments 1 through 5. This year we're picking up with commandment 6, and we'll do 6 through 10 this year. So that was kind of the overview of what we did. We also played some games and just had some good fellowship time together, getting back into the swing of things. We did some prayer upstairs, and Krista led our talk last night. So I'll go ahead and I'll do the same talk that she did so that you can kind of get that hear that bit to start us off. So here we go. So we started off and she went around the room and she asked people to share different examples of 5 people in their lives and what their relationship is to each person. So for example, she might have somebody might have said, my sister Elizabeth, my brother-in-law James, my mom Michelle. Krista gave an example of her favorite cashier at Target, or different things like that you can kind of pick different people that you have relationships with in the community. So we talked about how all of us are born into a family, or we're adopted into a family or a community and a society. We're each part of a country, a continent, a world, and the human race. God didn't create us to be alone. He created us to live in community with others and to develop many different types of relationship. We see that this is true even from the very beginning. So even in the book of Genesis, we see that God, he created man and he gave man dominion over the animals. And so the animals could even be part of that community. And then he gave Adam Eve. And so, and he says, it's not good for man to be alone. And so even in the very beginning, God knew that it's good for humans to be in community and to be in a family with other people. So he created us to develop many different types of relationships and many different ways that we relate to other people. We encounter a lot of different people on a day-to-day basis. So from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed at night, we are interacting with other people. We're interacting with the people in our homes, in our schools, or at our work. We're interacting with the people who are on the same commute as us. We interact with people when we go out to restaurants, when we go to games, when we go to all sorts of things. We are always interacting with other people. And relationships are a core part of our lives and who we are. They so much so that they even define, in many cases, they define who we are. And so the way that we treat people that we know and people that we do not know as we pass them from day to day is really important. So when we interact with other people, whether we realize it or not, we often think about and act upon what we want from them and what they might want from us. So for example, you may want a friend to play well during a game, or you may want your parents to take you shopping. So there are 2 different examples of a similar idea, though. It's a simple concept that we desire things from others and others desire things from us. But what we desire from others also entails ideals from what the foundation of our relationships, such as honesty, respect, dignity, and authenticity provide. So in every interaction we have with someone, we either build them up through virtue of love or break them down through neglect and sinful thoughts or actions. So the way that we treat those around us, our neighbors, is super important, and it's so important that the second half of the commandments, that's all that it covers, is how we treat our neighbor. So in this semester, we'll be looking at the second half of the 10 Commandments, number 6 through 10, which call us to love our neighbor as ourselves, to desire for someone what we would want from them in return, and to treat one another as we would want to be treated. So these commandments are not so much about what we are supposed to do, but rather how we are supposed to love those around us and strengthen our own relationships with them. As we follow these commandments, we not only avoid sin, but we help to create a better world, a place where everyone is treated with respect, love, and dignity. So sometimes we are tempted to think that it doesn't matter how we treat a peer that you don't like in math class, or how you talk to your siblings. But in all of these circumstances, we're called to fulfill God's commandment of loving others. God has great plans for us, and he calls us to a higher level of living where we imitate him and become Christ-like as we learn to love one another just as Jesus loves us. So, like I said, it was a short talk this week because we spent a lot of time in prayer and we spent a lot of time playing games and having conversations and interacting with one another. So that was the talk for this week. So hopefully you can join us again next week. We're looking forward to getting to hear about, I think we're doing the 10th commandment. We're going backwards. So I think we're doing the 10th commandment next week. So looking forward to seeing you all again soon. Have a great day.